Holy crap. I just almost blew up the engine. So what happened is, if you guys don't remember, we did not put in a radiator fan in there because we didn't have it ordered, and we needed to get to the frame shop as quickly as possible. So we just basically drove the car to the frame shop and back by turning on the heat, and that is what cooled down the coolant. Well, this time I left the car for a second just to open up the gate in the garage, and it started just spilling out, just coolant everywhere. I mean, check this out. There's a giant puddle of coolant right there, and then all down there, all that is coolant, me leaking. So thankfully I had some buddies over here. They helped me push the car over to the spot, but I'm gonna have to wait for it to cool down to pull it into the garage, and it's getting kind of late, so I'm just gonna do that tomorrow. Okay, it is the next day. Bought some coolant for the car, as well as picked up the lower radiator support. That is what the condensers and the radiator sit on. So we're gonna throw that in, put on the headlights, gonna pull off the seatbelts and the airbag module, drop that off so that it can get fixed, and then drive it over to the paint shop so they can get it all painted up. First thing we're gonna do is work on the lower radiator support. That is this section right here. This right here, if you can see, it's kind of like bent a little bit here. It's a little bit bent back, and that's where the radiators are actually supposed to sit. Over here on this side, you'll see too. That's where the radiators sit in place. So they're sitting here, but they're not sitting here. So I bought a new one, and it's just 4 bolts on each side. So I'm just gonna unbolt that, stick it in, put in the radiator fan, and then move on from there. All right, the old radiator support is out, the new one is in. Let's go ahead and do the seatbelts next, pull out the airbag module, and get that reset. Before we start touching the seatbelts, I'm gonna move the seat all the way forward just so that I have easy access to the seatbelts, because we are gonna have to unplug the battery from the actual car. And the battery on this Challenger is actually in the back, which is pretty interesting. It has like a, there it is, right there, nice big old battery. Okay, this is actually really sad, you guys. So inside here, this is where the seatbelt sits, and it's held in place by some masking tape. The little sound dampener.
How cheap can you get?
That's nuts.
How cheap?
This car is like a $30,000 car, and we've got masking tape holding pieces together.
Check this out. This right here, this is where you pump dollar bills into.
Yes.
You take dollar bills out of your pocket, and you can just shove them in there.
Yep.
And it makes your car go.
It'll go for about maybe 10 minutes, and then you got to put more.
Gotta put another $100 bill, another $100 bill, just to make it run.
Yep, that's how it is. All right, one down, one more to go. All right, dude, there we go. Second one's out. Now we just got to do the SRS module, which. Okay, after 10 minutes of playing with this and a YouTube video later, I've pulled back the tunnel, and there is the SRS module right there. You see that yellow box? That's it. So we're gonna go ahead and pull that out and send it off to be reset. Pulling out the SRS module is by far the worst part of a vehicle rebuild. But we finally got that out of the way. So let's throw in the radiator fan onto the radiator so we can drive this car over to the paint shop and get it painted. So to get the radiator fan in there, we're actually gonna have to pull off this radiator support. Clearly nothing is ever as easy as it seems. Finally got the radiator fan in there, but I basically ended up unscrewing the whole entire radiator support, which was very dumb of me because it was screwed on so tightly and to specific measurements. And now I think I might have jacked it up, but who knows. Basically ended up just picking up the car and shoving the fan through the bottom. But yeah, I think it's ready to go. We can throw in some more coolant and drive it to the paint shop. Before we do that though, we got some new headlights. So this is one of the headlights right here. That's the original one. The new one has an actual insert, like a cold air intake type thing in the headlight, and it's pretty sick. So we got the headlights, we got everything that we need on. All that's left is refilling that coolant that all leaked out yesterday. So fingers crossed, nothing's shot with the engine. Let's fill up the coolant and get it over to the paint shop. Okay, now we gotta run the engine to get all the coolant through, so let's start it up. It's looking pretty good. I mean, the line's not going down much more. Now I'm just waiting for the fan to engage, make sure that the fan is running while the car is running. All right, so it is the next day and the car is still here. We almost overheated it a second time now. This time there was air inside the cooling system and didn't really know that that was an issue until one of our buddies came over and told us and showed us that the coolant was boiling again. So he showed us a couple of options of what we can do to fix this. So check it out. Found out that there was air inside the cooling system is because the top radiator hose was hot and the bottom one was completely cold. Radiator was cold and coolant was actually boiling. He pulled off this hose and started spraying everywhere. It was crazy. Sadly didn't get it on camera. But what he said is basically we need to just pull off this plug. This is off the water pump and you start filling up the coolant, and it'll basically, once it starts overflowing, you pull that plug, put that plug back in, then run the engine for about 30 minutes. He said another option what you can do is, this is the hose from the heater core. You just pour coolant directly into there and it'll fill the coolant system that way, and it'll basically fill it up backwards. So let's try these options and hopefully it works. Fingers crossed. O'Reilly's brand, because the Xerox, oh, there it goes.
There it goes.
Oh. Okay.
Dang, dude, that was quite a bit.
That was a lot. And it looks like the fill level line on there is pretty good too.
Well, I think that's all gonna go down because it has to get to the bottom of the heater.
Yeah, it needs to run through the whole engine. Every time.
Never gets old.
Basically, if the car is not blowing hot air, you should not drive it.
No, you need, if you ever flush the radiator fluid, it's when you pour it in, do not drive it until it's blowing very hot air.
Yeah,
extremely hot.
Because that means
a little bit warm or
yeah.
cold, don't drive it. Because that means the thermostat's not turning on.
Yep, that means the coolant is not running through the heater core, and the whole engine is not getting the coolant that it needs.
Yeah.
So now we're
It's
just
getting nice and warm on this side, very warm.
Yeah.
Actually, you want to go check the coolant level? Let's see where we're at.
Oh, let's do that. It looks good. Coolant level's kind of on the lower side, but it's running right now.
Yeah.
So that's good.
Right here, it's very hot.
Yeah.
It's getting really warm on this side. So.
And I mean, we look at the temp gauge.
It's slowly starting to rise, which is good. We don't want it to go over. It has to be just under half, I think. Every car is different, but usually they run just under half if you're looking at the gauge itself. I don't know how much temp that is.
Yeah, no clue. I think there's.
I don't want to say it.
There's probably kind of some kind of setting on here that you can check. Vehicle info. This is it right here. Okay, there we go. Coolant temp.
Dude, it's getting very hot.
All right, well, the car is running at the temperatures that it needs to be running at, so we're pretty much good to go. I dropped off the seat belts to be redone, and turns out that this car also has to have the belt buckles redone. So the buckles have a pre-tensioner in them, and when the airbags go off, the seat belts deploy, and the buckles actually pull down as well. So we're gonna go ahead and pull those off before we drop this car off at paint, because it's going to be at the paint shop for a couple of days. We're going to drop off the buckles, and those will get repaired while the car is being painted, so we can get it done as quickly as possible. In order to get the seat belts off, you see that little yellow section right down at the bottom down there, we're going to have to actually pull out the whole entire seat. So we have to take and unscrew that hexagonal bolt right there, and then there's one in the front on each side. We got to pull that off, pull out the whole entire seat, and then take off the seatbelt. So this is going to be a fun process. Now that we got the seat lifted, we're going to have to go ahead and unplug that giant yellow cord right there so we can pull out the entire seat and pull off the pretensioner and belt buckle. Okay, well there it is. So here's the actual pretensioner. We're just gonna go ahead and unplug that cord right there. That's what connects the SRS module to the pretensioner. Gonna take out that torque screw right there, and we'll be able to get these seat belts off. Why does it feel like I'm tight? Is out. Okay, so we got the seatbelt and the SRS module off. We're gonna send those out and get them reset. In the meantime, we're actually gonna go and drop the car off at the paint shop so it can get fully repainted. Yeah, it's gonna look super nice. I'm pretty excited to get it back. It's a black color, so I think it should be pretty easy to get painted, and I think the blends are gonna make it look seamless. Thank you guys so much for sticking around through the whole entire video. If you're enjoying the content, make sure to smash that like button, leave a comment down below, and feel free to subscribe. But with that being said, thanks so much for watching, guys. We'll catch you next time. Peace.